You know, this message goes to both men and women. Fellas, you can't ask a woman to be the full package when you just an empty envelope. You can't be out here asking this woman to be a porn star, a chef, nurse, hold you like your mommy. Meanwhile, you don't know how to change a light bulb. You can't fight. You can't build nothing. You don't have basic decencies of chivalry. Like, come on, man. And then, ladies, while we talking about a full package, understand you could be a full package. Do everything you're supposed to be doing and still be at the wrong address. Just because things didn't work out don't mean that you did something wrong. Just because things didn't work out don't mean you need to change something about you. Just because you're having a consistent experience with men and things don't work out don't mean you the common denominator in a bad way. Yeah, you might be the common denominator in terms of they're not right for you, you're not right for them. What's common is you haven't found your person with enough in common with. Not that you need to change something, or that you're toxic, or that you're not good enough, or you're not big enough, small enough, et cetera, et cetera. I just got one of the saddest messages I think I've seen probably this year from a sister ready to change whatever it takes in order to receive love. Look, ain't nothing wrong with being a lover girl. I'm a lover boy. You know, ain't nothing wrong with loving love. Nothing's weak about it. They don't mean that you're incomplete or you got low self-esteem because you want love. But be very careful about loving somebody at the expense of yourself. It ain't worth it to gain nobody's heart, to love nobody, if it's only going to cause you to lose your soul. This sister hit me up asking, like, what do I need to change? And the whole qualification of what she needs to change is simply her last relationship didn't work out. And she was so invested, she can't even see that maybe it's something with this man. Not that he's just bad. Sometimes, and I'll keep saying this, I don't know, this just continues to be a consistent message. It's not that the person is bad. They're just bad for you. And the same thing goes vice versa. I was talking to my mentees about this. I think I first talked about it in one of my masterclasses, but I know recently I was talking to my mentees about this. There's 2 words that's going to save you against anybody who's hypercritical or tries to convince you that something is just wrong with you. And that's whenever that person come to you saying, you know what, you talk too much. You think you all that. You know, you know too much for your own good. You know, you just think you're too fine. You're just too stuck up. You're just too overconfident. The 2 words is, for you. For you. You're too clingy. For you. You want too much time, quality time. Man, look, you got too much high expectations and high standards. For you. You see, what that does is it detaches things, and accurately so, because everybody ain't for everybody. And I always heard that before. You know, to every pot has a lid. There's somebody for everybody. A lot of people just apply that physically. But I'm going to say this. It goes so much further than the physical. It's universal. There's somebody for everybody. That dude left you, went on to a new girl. Guess what? She may tolerate more nonsense than you. She may have a much higher tolerance for BS. She may have an intuition that she doesn't listen to, that doesn't nag her when something ain't right. She might. And that's fine. Actually, it's good that he went and found somebody on a much lower vibration so they can be in sync and equally yoked, and you can be free for somebody who's going to be for you. Let me be very clear. Am I making sense to anybody? When I say this, I know this is not typically what we hear. You know, if the word relationship didn't work out, then you need to self-reflect and change something about yourself. And yeah, you need to self-reflect. And in that reflection, be honest. Because if ain't nothing wrong, don't change it. There's nothing to fix. If you ain't did nothing wrong, if you ain't came in toxic, if you ain't came in unhealed, if you ain't came in unforgiving, if you ain't came in with your guard up, if you ain't came in criticizing, insulting, disrespecting, if you ain't came in doing none of that, no hidden agenda. You ain't came in just looking for help instead of love. You ain't came in trying to fill a void. You ain't came in keeping those secrets. You know you have not come in messed up on any level. You came in ready to give exactly what you were asking for in return. That's what you came in on. And you showed up and you delivered. If you said it, you did it. The problem wasn't you. I'm all for accountability and responsibility and growing and evolving. And yes, that requires accountability, like I said. But there's a time where it ain't nothing for you to be accountable for. Sometimes the only thing you did wrong was stay too long. Sometimes that's the whole problem. But your worth isn't measured by somebody else's inability to see it. And again, I want to be very tangible because this sister was thinking like, well, maybe I need to lose weight or gain weight. Maybe your weight is just right. Now, of course, be healthy. I'm not telling y'all to go out here and just don't care nothing about your physical health. Maybe your weight is just fine. Because let me tell you something. There's not a such thing as too pretty to be cheated on or taken for granted or mistreated. There's not a such thing. There's not a such thing as if you get fine enough, then you'll get a man who treats you good enough. Or if you get fine enough, then you'll get a man who cherishes you and appreciates you enough. There's no such correlation. What I'm saying ain't nothing about no health class. This ain't nutritionist class. I ain't trying to, look, go consult with your doctor or whatever the disclaimer supposed to be. I ain't here to tell you about that. What I'm saying is, y'all be thinking, oh, he went on to a girl that's prettier and this, that. He went on to a girl that's new. That's all it was. And you can never, and you should never even want to, try to compete with new. Because if a man mishandles his flesh, if he feeds and engorges his flesh in his singleness, he will develop an insatiable appetite for something new that no one woman can ever fully satisfy. Y'all be seeing men move on to another girl, jump in something with another girl, choose another girl, and he ain't happy with her either. Even if he settles there, y'all don't know, behind closed doors. He ain't happy there neither because he's hooked on variety. You see, when a man is infatuated with his options, he can never be happy and settled with his choice. And settled don't mean settled for. Settled means I'm content here. I'm invested here. I'm rooted here. I'm staying here. I'm glad to be here. I'm privileged to be here. I'm wanting to be here. That's what that means. But if a man is hooked on variety, no one woman, everything is perishable. Everything about how he feels, his enthusiasm for her, everything is perishable. So you may see these guys move on to somebody who you think is conventionally prettier or maybe smaller. Maybe she's a little bit more in shape. Maybe she's a little younger looking. I don't care. But if that man is hooked on variety, her time coming. Her time coming. I'm telling you, her time is coming. And maybe he don't just flip and replace her again. If the vibration is more aligned there, he may last. She may stay around. You got people in embarrassment ships all over the place that stand around. They're just toxic enough to continue tolerating each other, but you weren't toxic enough to tolerate that man. Or you weren't toxic enough for him to tolerate you. Don't get fooled thinking, oh, he moved on to such and such and he got him a new woman that's da-da-da-da-da. Just because she may have something physically that you don't have, something's a little perkier, if that man is addicted to variety, her clock is ticking. She is on the clock. It won't be long. Either he's going to replace her or he's going to constantly make her feel like she's in competition to not get replaced by something else new. Even if he doesn't move on in a relationship with somebody else, he's still for somebody else at some point. The new toy smell ain't going to last for long. It's not how it works. And that's, again, what I'm trying to hone in on is I need y'all to understand. Y'all be thinking, well, I got everything except, hold on, wait, for who? For the man that didn't appreciate it? For the man that got intimidated by it? Like, no, maybe you had everything. Maybe you brought everything necessary for a luxury experience, but you brought it to somebody with a dollar store budget. That's the chance now. I'm all for my sisters looking and saying, how can I improve? How can I grow? Absolutely. Continue evolving. What you would have done if that man was never born. I want you to continue evolving and growing and being accountable and all that kind of stuff. But be very mindful that you don't go over, that you don't cross that line. That's getting to that slippery slope of something must be wrong with me since I'm choosing wrong or I'm guessing wrong on whether or not a relationship can work. Something must be wrong. You might be the full package at the wrong address. Not every man is ready for a woman who wants marriage and has prepared herself for marriage and has reserved herself for marriage and is interested in putting the building blocks in place for marriage from day one, from intentionally dating all the way across the altar. Not every man is ready for that. So if you get with a dude or you get with two or three and they at first, they seem like they're ready for marriage and then all of a sudden that ends, it ain't something wrong with you. No, you didn't bring it up too quickly. No, you didn't come on too strong about it. He didn't want it. He wasn't marriage material. to himself, probably not to you either. He wasn't ready. You are the full package. That is exactly what another man has been praying for. Don't change that. Don't all of a sudden say, well, you know what? A bond is stronger than a title. If it happens, it happens. If that's not really where you really are. Now, I'm not here to say or judge you if that's not where you are. If you are on, hey, I'm not tripping on marriage, then get with somebody who's on the same vibration. My problem is a lot of people, men and women, but here I'm just talking because this is referencing a woman who hit me up on this. But there's a lot of men who get with a woman, and instead of just owning where they're at and saying, let me get somebody who's going to match my vibe on this, they go and get a woman who's on something completely different and try to guilt trip her and shame her into fitting into what he got going on. And then what I really, really hate is when y'all get with these guys and you bring in all of this value, but because it's not good enough for him, per his value system, you feel like something's wrong with you. Fundamentally, no. You're in the wrong place. If you judge a goldfish on its ability to climb a tree, it's always going to feel like it's not good enough. Because goldfishes weren't made to climb trees. That's not the natural environment where you're going to thrive. If he's a tree and his roots are in hell, you ain't supposed to be climbing that tree. I'm being real with you. You ain't supposed to be climbing that tree. There's some men who don't like mental stimulation. They don't like mentally stimulating dialogue. They call it nagging. They call it talking too much. They call it rambling. A lot of y'all get with a dude, you want to talk. You're a thinker. You're an intellectual. You like to discuss things. You like to go beneath the surface layer. You like to have an exchange that's sexy to you, that turns you on if a man can bring you a perspective that you originally didn't have. Not every man is with that. Some men, the moment they get confused, they get frustrated. Y'all ever been to school with those dudes who start cussing I'm putting this in for myself. Hey, I used to go to school with guys, all the gangsters, all the hood dudes. Man, this is stupid. They literally get mad because they had to start using their brain. And it was wild to me. I'm like, what's stupid about this? Why are you getting frustrated? Why are you getting upset? Nobody's hurt you. Nobody's insulted you. But just the fact that they had to use their brain made them pissed off. It aggravated them. They acted like somebody spitting they Cheerios or something. There are men that grew up to get in a relationship with you when they were that little dude in 11th grade, 10th grade, cussing out the teacher under their breath, mad at the quiz, because they got to use their brain and they didn't study. And because they internally feel stupid, they going to project it onto the test, the quiz, the teacher, the class, school. Instead of the real situation being acknowledged that they just don't like using their brain. Sometimes y'all be asking dudes to do all of this mental stimulation and adult conflict resolution and being mature and seeing things from both sides. And when he gets upset, you're not realizing this is that little 11th grade boy who didn't study for the test, showed up on test day, and now he pissed off and he ready to break his pencil and cuss out the teacher. Because it's coming across like, oh, you always got something to complain about. You always negative. Or you always want to argue. That don't mean something is wrong with what you're requiring, what you're asking for. Don't think, let me be more quiet. Let me not bring up the issues that I have. Let me not bring to the table things that I think we really need to discuss before we go further in this relationship. That don't mean that you rambling just because you're trying to have a conversation. That don't mean that you arguing just because you're bringing up something you have a concern about. That doesn't mean that you're nitpicking because you have a certain standard for how that conversation needs to go, and he can't meet it. You may be the full package at the wrong address. You're asking that man to respect the relationship a certain way. Not respect the relationship in terms of, well, he believes in himself to not go all the way and actually sleep with another woman, but he just gonna flirt and he just gonna blurt a line on social media and he just gonna put himself on her radar and like 30 pictures in a row and, put little hard eyes to his stories and all these other little innuendos. He just gonna do that, but he not gonna sleep with her, so therefore you shouldn't trip. There's nothing wrong with what you're asking for as a respect to the relationship. He just may not be built for that. And that's fine. There are guys out here who, you know, look, they in polygamous situations. They okay with their woman doing something on the side. They gonna do something on the side, and that's cool. If that's not your flow, that's not your flow. That don't make you insecure. That don't mean that you nitpicking. That don't mean that you accusing him of something or carrying baggage in or got trust issues. Please don't get gaslit out of your core principles. Am I making sense to anybody? Y'all let me know down in the comments, man. If I'm losing y'all, because I want to make it clear, because I know there's somebody out there like the sister that sent me this message that really, you just don't fit in with the norm. You just don't fit in with the worldly standard. You don't fit in with the fallback games, with the manipulation games. You don't fit in with that. You don't fit in with keeping a roster year round, even whenever you got something serious. You don't fit in with that. You don't fit in with playing games with somebody just to prove that you got the power and blah, blah, blah. That don't mean that something's wrong with you. That don't mean something wrong with you. You may have gotten into relationship after relationship after relationship, and these men are giving you one impression because you are that lit. You see, I hear the people that say, oh, you're a common denominator. You need to change something about you. Let me tell you something. You can be such a light that you attract everything. The moths, the bees, the people that want warmth, the whatever. You attract everything, right? And you're going to give it a chance. You're going to give somebody a chance to either show you or show you that they're not whoever it is that they present themselves to be. And if you're so attracted that every person keeps trying to just convince you enough to get what they want from you, or trying enough to live up to what you got going on, but they haven't really prepared for that, and then the ugly truth presents itself, that doesn't mean you're the problem. Don't default to, I've had multiple experiences that didn't happen the way I wanted them to, therefore I'm wrong. Stop. Y'all are messing up. Some of y'all are trying to put 24-inch spinning rims on a Bentley, on a Rolls Royce Cullinan. Like you're perfect the way you are. You don't need to go get some cheap, shiny upgrade or, change something about your body that you're really not comfortable with, or talk less, even though you love communication, you love dialogue, you love verbal exchanges, you love, that's damn near a love language for a man to be able to teach you something. You're a traditional woman, or maybe you're a modern woman, or whatever it is, and you think there's something wrong with you. So let me see what's out here. The 24-inch spinning rims that only cheapens a truly luxury vehicle. Let me put that on, because then I'll get more attention and more traction. And no, you'll get more people ready to waste your time. You get more people ready to waste your time. Oh, you asking for too much. You want me to be romantic all the time. There are lover boys out here. You ain't got to ask. You got to make it clear that you're receptive. You ain't got to ask for the romance. You may have to let him know exactly what you like in the romantic spectrum, but you ain't got to ask for romance. Dealing with dudes who are telling you wanting too much. You come on, why you over here? You want me to think about romance and right in a time like this? This man think about what new pair of shoes he want, what new hat, what new jacket, what new car and everything, but he can't think about the new bouquet of flowers. He can't think about that. He wants you to memorize his mama recipes. He wants you to do everything in the bedroom just like he been watching all of the people online do when he was being perverted. He wants you to do all of this stuff just like that. But he can't make no adjustments, and now you're the one that needs to change, and now something's wrong with you. No. Whatever he say, you to this or to that, or not enough this or not enough that. Again, the 2 words, if you don't take nothing away from what I'm saying tonight, the 2 words are for you. Understand, that's for his review. I don't care if it's 5 of them. If you living in your truth, you didn't have no hidden agenda, you know your love was real, you know that you were loyal, you know that you were committed, you know that what you said you meant and you did and you showed. Then the problem wasn't you, sis. Absolutely change if you were toxic. Tighten up if you came in messed up and did a good man wrong. I'm not telling you can't do no wrong. I'm telling you, don't default to that something must be wrong with you because the wrong man for you didn't recognize your value. And then this is where I really need y'all to understand. You have these experiences at the moment you even start questioning. if there's something you could have done differently, maybe the moment you even go down that road, I'm telling you, there's a soul tie there. There's a soul tie there. The soul tie sows confusion. The soul tie sows confusion. If you ever ended a bad relationship or something that just didn't work out and all you had was more questions than answers and they just seemingly didn't go away and those questions haunted you, why wasn't I enough? What happened? What can make them do that? Maybe this is when I talk like this that drove them away. Maybe I do need to lose a gain or do something with a tan or I need to make more money or I need to take a step back from my career. And all of these things are really your core principles, but you're just confused and you got questions. Soul ties sow confusion. Y'all think soul ties is just something just theoretical, religious, or whatever. No. And that's why I'm so big on you got to cut those soul ties. You can't just learn the right thing to do going forward by keeping the soul ties to all of the ones that wasn't for you. You got to cut those soul ties. And it's not complicated. It's actually very simple. And I broke down the simple step-by-step formula to cutting all soul ties, getting that mental and emotional reset. So the man that's actually for you, uniquely and solely for you, can have all of you to access. Not bits and pieces, not fragments, not you plus a lot of the harmful narratives and stories that you've adopted from people who didn't love you and weren't meant for you, but you. And I broke that down in the masterclass. Breaking the soul tie. If you see the link pinned right here, it says free Encore. Right after we get off of here, make sure you can click that link now to hold your seat. So it gives you the email, it gives you the link already waiting for you in your inbox. So when we're done here, you can hop straight onto that masterclass on breaking soul ties. I simplified it. This doesn't have to be complicated, but you do have to be willing to do something new if you want to stop those haunting thoughts, those questions about what it is you did wrong. Why weren't you good enough? And to avoid men that you develop these soul ties with who were never meant to be your soulmate. That link is right here. Also, it's in the top, in the caption. Pin that in the comments right there. Go ahead and register for that now. Moral of the story is this. Stop thinking something wrong with you because you got with a man that was wrong for you. Stop thinking you need to do something different instead of just changing direction so you end up somewhere different. Stop thinking that you are too much for this man and any man because that man couldn't handle it. When really he wasn't enough. It's not to bash nobody. He just wasn't enough. He just didn't have it. Wasn't nothing wrong with you. It may not have been nothing wrong with him. But he was above his pay grade with you. Emotionally, you were out of his tax bracket. Doesn't make him a bad person. Just got to accept that whenever you've built up enough value in yourself, when you've really risen your worth, sis, there are going to be a lot of men who simply cannot afford you. But those are just my thoughts. If you agree with anything that I said, and you know that it's facts, hit the share button right now so we can share this truth. A lot of people sharing nonsense and lies and all of these misconceptions. If you believe that something I said was the truth, and only if you do, all I ask is that you hit that little arrow, that share button, wherever you see it at down there at the bottom. So somebody else in your timeline can also get blessed and we can spread what's really real out here. But if you also want more, if you hit that share button, click the link that's pinned right down here in the comments. That's going to give you access to my free masterclass on breaking soul ties. There's not another class or training on breaking soul ties that's available that makes it as simple and that goes as in-depth as I did for free. I guarantee you. The link is down here in the comments, also in the caption. I'll let y'all be good. Much love, Erica Fox, for sharing.